Eric Adams is now being investigated by the FBI. Being investigated by the FBI. And I wanted to make sure that I brought you guys up to speed on what's happening over there in New York. Again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm and then tap into the Patreon.
Now to that breaking news here in New York City. The FBI seizing electronic devices belonging to Mayor Eric Adams as part of a corruption investigation, taking them from him right on a city street. Jonathan Deans has the late details.
In what appears to be a growing federal corruption investigation, the FBI has seized the electronic devices of New York City's Democratic Mayor, Eric Adams. The FBI approaching Adams Monday. Two sources familiar with the matter say the mayor turned over 2 cell phones and an iPad and later turned over additional electronic devices. The mayor's attorney saying tonight he's not been accused of wrongdoing and continues to cooperate with the investigation.
You know, sometimes I wonder to myself, why people even want to be in politics at all. Sometimes people say, Anton, would you run for city council? Would you run for mayor of Detroit or anything like that? And my initial reaction is, for what? Yo, when the FBI pull up on you and they taking your iPad and your 2 cell phones right there on the street, they ain't even wait for you to be able to get home. They ain't do it outside of the purview of the general public, but they run up on you and they say, hey, let me get that iPad and 2 phones, fam. Let me get that iPad and them 2 phones, family. Why would you even want that level of visibility on you in the first place? Let's continue.
Adams tonight saying, I have nothing to hide. Questions appear to center around Adams' chief campaign fundraiser, 25-year-old Brianna Suggs, whose home was raided by agents several days ago. Earlier this week, Adams voiced support for Suggs, who has not commented publicly.
I sleep well at night. I am clear that we follow the rules. We follow the rules.
Investigators are in part looking into possible campaign donations tied to a construction firm and its ties to Turkey.
Not Turkey. Not the 25-year-old girl, the campaign girl, the manager, or whatever it is that she was getting her house raided. Listen, by all means, the only time that I want the police or the FBI or any person that's a part of a 3-letter group that's tied to the federal government, including the I, the R, the S, the CIA, the FBI, the ABGT, whatever it is that they are, the only time I want them to come in is when they on my side making an investigation about something that somebody else did to me. Real talk. I don't want nobody as a part of an alphabet community, including people that like to swing the other way, if you know what I'm trying to say. I don't want nobody associated with me in the alphabet community at all, running up in my crib unless they trying to solve for something that happened to me. The alphabet boys running up into your campaign managers and raiding their crib, they putting resources and agents on your people. We gonna watch and see what happens.
But a source familiar with the matter says late last week, it was the mayor and his lawyers who turned over information about additional wrongdoing separate from the campaign finance investigation.
Wait. You mean to tell me that not only did the alphabet boys run up in the crib for something that they're investigating tied to you, but then you're turning over information that's completely unrelated to something else?
One of the mayor's lawyers says, in the spirit of transparency and cooperation, this behavior was immediately and proactively reported to investigators.
Then why was it only reported after they ran up in your homegirl's crib for that? You see what I'm saying? It's like the timing. And I'm not saying that he's guilty of anything. I'm just evaluating it and looking at it from my C student's eyes. The timing is just off. Right? You got the whole criticism of the Biden administration. You got him turning his back on the sanctuary cities, right? He's telling migrants in his city, hey, you got a limited amount of time. Now you got to get up out of here. At first, he was saying that New York was always going to remain a sanctuary city, and now he's pivoting. And then now when he decided to go to that other side and he's having conversations about the possibility of not becoming a, and again, I'm not saying that there's a tie to it. All I'm saying is that it's weird, man. It's incredibly weird. And so when I see this playing out the way that it's playing out, And now you automatically now start having people being raided and their houses ran up in, and now they trying to volunteer information in addition to that right after that happened in order to make sure that they're proactive. It's weird to me, man. I don't think that most things are a coincidence. I do not think that most things are a coincidence.
All right, Jonathan joins us live in studio. So, Jonathan, what you're reporting here is a remarkable scene. Those devices taken by the FBI from the mayor on a New York City street?
Yeah, Tom, we're told that the mayor was coming out of a speech near NYU. This, as we're told, the FBI first considered seizing the devices during the mayor's appearance Sunday at the New York City Marathon. Again, the mayor denies any wrongdoing.
Ran upon you at the
charges,
marathon.
Tom, have been filed in this investigation.
All right, Jonathan Dean, on that breaking news. Jonathan, thank you for that.
So let me. That was a couple days ago. We got some additional insight on the other things that the FBI is allegedly investigating. Obviously, they're not sharing the details, but this is all coming from the news in the mayor's office, courtesy of CBS Evening News. Last night, let me bring you guys up to speed.
Well, new details are emerging tonight about the federal investigation into New York City Mayor Eric Adams. The New York Times reports the FBI is looking into whether the Democrat improperly weighed in on permits for the Turkish consulate building. CBS's Astrid Martinez has the very latest tonight from New York.
In a growing federal investigation into New York City Mayor Eric Adams, FBI agents are sifting through his text messages, according to the New York Times. They reportedly want to see if Adams pressured fire department officials to fast-track permit approval for a proposed high-rise to be used for the Turkish government's consulate in Manhattan.
Now, let's back up for a minute, guys. The previous clip that I showed you was completely separate from this, right? Campaign managers, financing tied to outside governors governments and all of this other type of stuff. And this right here that's being reported is a tie to an outside source, specifically the Turkish government, and the incentives behind, according to what's being reported by CBS News, the incentives behind him pressuring the fire department and using his power in order to get things done. And then you have to ask yourself why. We're not saying that he's guilty. We're not saying that he's innocent. We don't know. But we know that the Alphabet Boys is all over him about multiple different issues. People are getting their houses raided. Devices is being snatched up. The question that you have to ask yourself is, why? Why? It's always an outside source that has ties to what's happening in your federal government, and then you have to ask yourself, why? Why would he be incentivized to push this agenda if this be true? If this be true, why would he do that? Let me rewind it a little bit just to make sure that you guys are up to speed, because this is only a 1-minute clip, so I want to make sure that you guys are getting the full story so we can have the conversation. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly.
New York.
In a growing federal investigation into New York City Mayor Eric Adams, FBI agents are sifting through his text messages, according to the New York Times. They reportedly want to see if Adams pressured fire department officials to fast-track permit approval for a proposed high-rise to be used for the Turkish government's consulate in Manhattan, despite safety concerns with the building. The Times says the 2021 text messages were discovered in Adams' phones and iPads after the devices were seized by authorities last week as part of a larger corruption probe into foreign funds. The Times saying Adams was asked by Turkish officials for help keeping the opening of the Turkish headquarters on schedule. Adams has denied any wrongdoing and spoke briefly to reporters today following an unrelated event in Queens.
What I'm really hoping is that these periodic leaks stop. We're cooperating. We need to do this together so all the facts can come out.
CBS.
Why would you want a periodic leak to stop instead of being forthcoming with the information? What is it? There's nothing to hide. Why are we worried about a periodic leak?
Legal analyst Jessica Levinson.
Just because his iPhone and his iPad were seized by the FBI, it doesn't mean that he's the target. It means they think that there's information on those devices.
Let me tell you something. I don't even want to be tied to a target that is a target. I don't even want to be associated with targets. I don't want to kick it. And this is one of the reasons why, again, this has nothing to do with whether or not I think he's innocent or guilty. I don't even report on fake news no more. I've been hearing information about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and people breaking up or whatever. Until I can substantiate that to be true, I'm not participating in it. The only thing I'm reacting to is the information that's being presented to me. I teach you guys all the time. You don't want to just do business with people. You want to be careful on what they are, who they are, what type of business they do, what kind of character they have, because just getting to the money is not enough. When you associate yourself with people, it then can ruin your reputation, especially when you get to certain levels. I think a lot of times people don't take into consideration what's really happening out here in these streets. So be very, very careful.
And after the raid of the mayor's chief fundraiser, neither Adams nor his campaign have been accused of any wrongdoing. And at this time, there have been no charges filed in connection with the investigation.
And you also have to remember that when you're dealing with the federal government, they don't file or charge for anything until they have a solid case against you. And that's why they have such a high conviction rate. So be careful. Do not find yourself in a difficult situation or a position, and let this be a learning experience for most people. I am going to keep my eye on what's happening over there in New York and where it leads to, especially as it relates to the money. And I'm going to make sure that you guys stay informed, all right?